Mr. Secretary, I want to raise an issue with you that has huge bipartisan support in the Senate and also the support of the administration, which is reforming the Foreign Investment in Real Estate Property Act so that foreign pension funds can put much-needed capital into the U.S. commercial real estate market. And we've talked about this before and how bringing this needed equity to the U.S. can create jobs right here at home. As you know, the current tax on real estate investment trust shares owned by foreign pension funds was due to an administrative action, not a legislative one. And indeed, up until Treasury issued a notice in 2007, foreign pension funds investing in REITs were treated equally with their domestic counterparts. So it seems to me that Treasury made this change in the first place. It could also undo this policy and eliminate a barrier to private infrastructure investment. I'm pleased to see that once again the President agrees with me on the need for FIRPTA reform as illustrated in his budget. So since we all agree that this is a bad policy and Treasury clearly has the authority to reverse this ruling, I hope that you would look at taking some sort of action on FIRPTA. So my question is, one, does it make any sense to create obstacles for foreign investment in the U.S., particularly considering our dire need for infrastructure investments? And will you commit to working with me, and there's a bipartisan group of members of this committee and beyond who will support this effort?
Senator, we've discussed this before, and as you acknowledge, we agree that this should be fixed. We believe it needs to be fixed through legislation. I actually hope that in the discussions we're having about business tax reform, it provides an opportunity for us to do this in a bipartisan way. And we've obviously put forward a legislative proposal again, and I would look forward to working with you on it.
So you're not going to deal with it administratively, obviously. So the question is, but you do support, the administration supports.
We have a legislative proposal.
Reform.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, in the same light, one of the main themes in the President's budget is the need for extensive investments in roads, bridges, and other critical infrastructure. One of the most effective ways to help local municipalities, and I say this as a former mayor, make these critical investments is the private activity bond program. Unfortunately, the caps on water and wastewater infrastructure projects make it extremely difficult for local communities to take advantage of the program for these critical needs. And that's because, for example, water projects are often multi-year ventures, making it complex and difficult to fit under the annual caps. Now, I have legislation I plan to reintroduce. It actually passed through this committee that would remove the caps for water and wastewater infrastructure projects, and I'm pleased to see the President's budget included positive reforms in this regard. Would removing the caps help local communities upgrade their antiquated infrastructure?
You know, Senator, we did put the new proposal in our budget to try to accomplish the same goal. Obviously, raising the caps would provide more room for local authorities. We think that what we've proposed is a way to really, it's a very similar theory behind it, and we would look forward to working together to get something enacted into law to enable local projects to go forward more easily.
And finally, we have record job growth, and the administration has done, I think, economically a great job, lowest unemployment in some long period of time, private sector job growth for a long period of time. Deficit as a percent of the GDP probably lowest in 50 years, and a whole host of other positive economic factors, but we still have a stagnant, which you referred to in your opening statement. Long-term unemployment rate is still, however, far too high, leaving millions of Americans out of the recovery. They're stuck on the sideline, and while they do that, their skills and networks become out of date, which hurts them in trying to get back into the economy. I've introduced legislation called the Better Education and Skills Training for America's Workforce that would provide a robust tax credit for businesses who pay for training for long-term unemployed workers and would create a competitive pool of tax credits for business clusters who come together to set up training programs at community colleges, and I see the President's initiative on community colleges. Do you believe that designing a job training program focused on providing the long-term unemployed with skills in demand would help reduce the disproportionately high rate of long-term unemployed people in our country.
Senator, we have, through the policies we put in the budget, I think embraced very strongly the idea that we need to make sure training is available to help people get into or get back into the workforce. That's where our community college proposal comes in. It's where our other training proposals come in. There are multiple ways one could accomplish it. We put in our budget the ways that we think would be most effective, but we look forward to working together.
Well, I'll close by saying we'd like to work with you. I understand and support the President's broader initiative, but how we deal and focus on long-term unemployed is a critical element of it.
Totally agree. And, you know, if you look at the you know, kind of potential GDP in the medium term, getting people back into the labor force is not just something that's right for the individual, but it's a way to make sure our economy is growing more.
Well, I'm thrilled to find at least 3 places we can largely agree.